one.
I will.
And then you can keep them.
Are you also getting the calls from around the country after that?
After my 11th call,
And isn't your wife
I said,
a
why don't you
water-
guys just work together? And they said, well, Central Maine watermarked that video, and so everybody has to watermark their own Fox or ABC.
Did you get a phone call today? Yeah, that was an interesting reveal. Did you get a phone call today?
If you wanted to do it online,
Yeah.
there's actually, so.
Listen,
we have paywalls, so there is a way to get past.
we had Inside Edition and TMZ.
It's a website.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't know. Yeah, you just, so you.
What's that video out there, man? Everybody wants-
You just wanna go and run something.
Yeah, I feared.
Copy and paste the URL.
Which is why I said no to you, and then I tried to be composed with your editor, but I don't know if she told you, get the hung up on her.
I know.
You don't have to give me money.
I got things to do.
It's like putting someone's account on the map.
Rumor has it, Dave hit him with one of his road signs. That's
It's a new type of,
What I do with road signs?
Yeah, it's like the new.
Let's stop that guy.
Just put my thoughts on that, and probably 20 years.
I never got a.
Oh, live,
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Okay. And first first item on order today is the Somerset County, Maine proclamation. Whereas the Spirit of America Foundation greatly appreciates the help of county officials to recognize excellent service and thus created County Officials Appreciation Month in 2024, dedicated nationally to the sheriffs and their county law enforcement employees to express gratitude. Whereas county officials make personal sacrifices to serve constituents and deserve more public recognition and respect than they generally receive, whereas sheriffs are responsible for law enforcement on the county level, ensuring all local, state, and federal laws are obeyed, whereas county-level enforcement employees participate in emergency response, criminal investigation, and other tasks facilitating public safety, whereas Somerset County much appreciates the law enforcement and civil process serves afforded by its sheriff's office. Now therefore, be it proclaimed that Somerset County, Maine designates September 2024 as Somerset County Officials Appreciation Month, and urges our citizens to show gratitude to their county officials and especially to their sheriff and other county law enforcement employees for all they do and to make this place a better place to live, visit, and do business in. Given into our hands this 18th day of September 2024. Commissioners, so thank you.
You're here.
And moving along, minutes, resolution 24-181 to accept the minutes of September 4th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Workshop, employee handbook review, Article 7, levels of absence.
So in your package, you should have about 4 pages from Article 7 as we just continue to move through different parts of the employee handbook. This one's in regards to leave of absence, which covers family medical leave, paid family medical leave, and probably most importantly, the return to work. So there's been some confusion over Maine's new paid family medical leave law. It doesn't supersede family medical leave. Family medical leave is a federal law, and so we still offer family medical leave. And so we touch on some of the information on that in this article. Family medical leave has clear guidelines in how you are restored to work. If you've been out for an injury, you have to provide a fitness for duty certificate and notes from your doctors. We left that information in there, and then, as I'll get to in a few minutes, we added some language for the process, the county's process, to be returned to work. So at the bottom of the first page there, 713, that section starts to talk about paid family medical leave. And then on to the second page, this is clear that this is not in addition to family medical leave. It's still a 12-week period. You don't get an additional 12 weeks, but now employees may be eligible for payment from the Department of Labor. So just to touch on a couple of things that we've had to clarify, effective January 1, 2025, so coming up in really a few months, the county will be paying into this paid family medical leave, and as decided by the commissioners, they're going to follow the examples of all the other counties which are doing a 50-50 split between the employer and the employee. So the employee will pay half of that 1% of their wages, and the county will contribute the other part as we make that full payment to the Department of Labor. This is something that we probably ought to be communicating early and often to employees so that they'll notice that small amount and that new deduction on their paycheck. In the process of, if they are eligible, and we fast forward now to 2026, if they want to take paid family medical leave, the entire application is with the state, with the Department of Labor. We don't handle those applications here. There's a 7-day waiting period. So if they choose to be out, or if they're injured and they end up being out for that 7-day waiting period, they're not paid for that. So they have the option of using their paid time off, sick or vacation time to cover that spot. Also, the formula that the state uses will not fully reimburse them. It'll be a percentage on a sliding scale of a percentage of their pay. So they're not going to receive 100% of what they've been typically being paid for a 40-hour week from the state. So then they also will have the opportunity, according to this policy, to make up that difference with some of their sick hours or vacation hours if they choose to do so. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I recommend the county put in writing about paid family medical leave. Before I go on, is there any questions about that? This is going to continue to unroll and unfold, and I'm sure as soon as the election and the new legislature is sworn in, this might be brought up for some changes, so we're just going to go with what we have at the moment. So other items in this leaves of absence have to do with bereavement leave, leave for jury duty, victims of violence. That's all pretty standard from our current handbook. I carried that language over. There is a section 7.7 on absenteeism and how that can result in the assumption that the person has given up their position if there's unexcused absenteeism and there's no contact back, no call, no show. The final section is something that the department heads and HR have been reviewing and working on, and that's a return to work policy. We've been encouraged by our risk management coverage to have a return to work policy. The main thing about this is we want to get away from the idea that light duty is available to anyone who wants light duty. That's not the case, because it differs on the job, right? What your job is required to do, or your physical ability to be there. So the language that's important here is in that second paragraph on this last page. Somerset County will allow modified work assignments, reasonable accommodations that are intended to enable the employee to transition back to full regular duty. This is subject to available work beneficial to the employer. And preference for modified return to work will be given to those employees who experience a work-related injury. The sheriff had expressed some concerns about doctor's notes that are kind of tailored specific to certain jobs. So we added the caveat in there that the county reserves the right to get another doctor to take a look at it. We currently use an independent group called Workplace Health. So if we think that there's an issue with a return to work, we can also ask for a second opinion, if you will. So that is pretty much Article 7 in a nutshell.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Shall we move on to discuss replacement of cook stove at Rockwood Community Center?
I went up on Friday and took some pictures of the setup we have up there. This is the range. You can see as far as the fire extinguisher goes, it's a K-series right beside it. Doesn't have an installed system like some of the commercial kitchens, restaurants have, but it does have that. I've got some more pictures here. This was pretty old. It was donated by the Snowmobile Club up there. This is more of the setup of the kitchen. Donated by Blue Ridge Riders. And this section right here is not a pizza oven like I was first thinking. It's for broiling meat. When I was calling around, I called, I think it's R&D up the road, see if they carried commercial units. I looked at the Key Appliance website. All the local people, they don't deal with commercial. They can order pretty much anything we want, but you know, we'd have to determine what model we want first. And I do have a bunch of models here that I looked up online. This was a quote, and I'm not sure where this quote came from. Was this yours, Robert, or was this from the Reverend?
No, that's from the Reverend, and it comes
Okay.
from somebody in Winthrop, I believe. It says it there.
Yeah, this is a used unit,
Yeah,
but I did look up the brand and this is generally a $5,500 to $6,000 unit
right,
when it's new.
yeah.
But I think that the total of it is, I don't think they total it, but it's $3,500, and then there's some add-ons. So
Well,
you're up to 4,000.
yeah, the delivery was 200.
Yeah, the delivery, yes. That was one of our options. I had a couple others here, just looking on the website to see. And this is, I didn't think South Bend was still in existence, but they are in existence. They are expensive.
Hey, can I have a stupid question at the beginning?
Sure.
What are we using the existing stove for?
When people
And what's
read,
wrong with the existing stove?
it no longer works. There's a big write-up from their whole church services there, and the pilot was giving problems. There was a strong smell of propane. We had A&E Robinson come up and check it out. Needs new parts. Parts no longer made. This stove is so old that they can't get parts for it anymore. So basically it needs to be replaced. This is our building. We own the building, we own the lot. Rockwood is an unorganized township. So we rent the building out multiple times a year. We charge $25 a day. And some people will pay, you know, basically for every week, for a month or 2 months, 3 months at a time. We don't make enough money to cover all the expenses because we have to heat it, have to do maintenance on it. We've had new siding installed a few years back, a new roof earlier than that.
So just in terms of cooking, I just bought a new gas stove myself. It cost me $1,100, but it's a pretty decent sized, durable kitchen stove. Is that inadequate for we cooking big meals on a regular?
Sometimes, yeah, there are sometimes they cook a large meal because the Snowmobile Club will have a fundraiser, fishing derby goes on up there, so we've got a lot of people. So it would be, I think it would be beneficial for us, not this one that's on the screen right now. We'll get rid of that. Let me find out one of the other ones in here. I got a couple others in here. All right, here was one. The same layout we have currently, and this one's $2,700. There's another one in here, it's $1,000 more, $37,000. We kind of need to pick a ballpark of what we consider spending on this. We have the funds. We have a capital account for the community center. It's got $57,000 in it currently. So I don't know, I don't think picking the bottom of the lowest would be the way to go, but something a little bit above that, and anyone that has any knowledge of these types of ranges. I do not. I barely use my range at all.
I used to work on those down to Waterville, down by Thayer Hospital.
Yep,
You're gonna get something that you can get bypass for, is what you're gonna look for.
yep,
Yeah, something middle of the road that has a good warranty. And usually you've got that threshold, right, that, okay, you've got your basic warranty here, but then if you go, sort of the middle level brand, and the warranty is a couple more years usually, without having to buy into an extra warranty.
yeah. I did,
It's usually an indicator of quality.
at R&D Home up the road, they did say they would service anything they sell. So if we go through them, then we can rely on them for service. And Amy Robinson in Dover, Foxcroft, Greenville, Dexter, that whole area, they got a lot of offices. They will do the installation. We buy our propane from them, so they'll install it. They may do maintenance too. They have one brand of gas range they carry. It's not a commercial unit. It's a company called Unique. Good stoves, but not a direct replacement for what we have here. So if we decide to replace it, which I think we need to do, we just have to decide on what we want to spend, what model, what dollar range, and then, move forward from there. I'll do some more research, try to get an idea on reliability, warranty, so I can come up with a spreadsheet with, if we put a range for a dollar figure between 3 and 5 or something like that, I've put together a range of options and presented at the next meeting. So everyone can kind of see. And with these, I simply don't recognize these brands. If you get into the high dollar brands, Thor, recognize that, that's $9,000, $10,000. Some of these units are $15,000 to $20,000. Obviously, no, that's not what we're looking for. But between probably $2,500 to $5,000, somewhere's in there.
I guess I'd want to talk to some experienced cook or restaurateur.
Absolutely.
Because, my experience says, not a lot goes wrong with them, year in, year out.
Yep,
Keep
yep.
clean.
Yeah, this one's probably 40, 45 years old.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, they don't make them like they used to, and
Yeah,
one of the things is, of course, you've got volunteers that are using a piece of equipment. So it's not, a lot of times they don't have a nickel in it, right? One of the things that I have noticed with appliances over the last 10 or 15 years is the cheaper brands, the knobs and the handles and all that sort of stuff is plastic, it breaks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gotta be, I'd be leaning more towards the $5,000 range just to get up over the bargain basement
Yeah, that was my thought
level.
too.
Yeah, and this is a community center type situation where it's their tax dollars really that are paying for it ultimately. It just gets
Yeah, it is.
recycled through the system to get into this account, so.
Yeah, this was one that was on Amazon. It's a bit more than the others. It's a Coolmore. I don't know if that's one you're familiar with. I did see it advertised quite a bit. But,
I guess I'd ask where they were made and double down on the warranty.
okay.
I'll have a choice.
When I do a spreadsheet,
That's the same as the cell.
I'll include that, manufacturing, wear, and warranty on it.
Sheriff, did you have your hand up?
Yes, sir. I would encourage Dave to talk to Mike Libby, the cook, head chef at the jail. We have one of those stoves, or probably not that stove, but a stove of that, and he's very familiar, and he's not afraid to share his opinion on what might be the best brand to pursue.
Yeah, that's what I need is information, people that don't know.
He would have the information.
Okay, I'll definitely.
Do you want me to have him reach out to you?
Yeah, if you would.
I'll do that, yeah, I'll do that.
That'd be great, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
So just so you know, there is a resolution later on the agenda if you did want to set a amount not to exceed to allow Dave to go forward.
Have you looked at the electrical panel to see if perhaps electric would be?
I do have a picture of the electrical panel in here. Let me just find that for you. Just gotta scroll for it. Oh, there's the electrical panel. We've got hot water heaters in there, of course.
Yeah, so I see some blank spaces. And-
Yeah, there's definitely space if we,
Yeah. So that's
Needed to
good.
go
It's
electric.
It's a 200 amp,
I believe so.
does it show up at the top?
No, I don't think I got the very top.
I'm wondering if there's some kind of matrix or way of determining size based on use, so that if that community center has 5 public dinners a year with an average attendance of 21 people, you know, how big a stove you need? I just, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna wind up buying a stove that's gonna be overbuilt for our use.
Yeah.
We want, for when we're in a large crowd, and you can have, when they have the fishing derbies up there, you'll have hundreds of people around this building, kind of coming and going and doing stuff inside. When they're having their dinners and their church services, you're not gonna have huge crowds, but when they do have a crowd, we need to have a stove that will carry, you know, the need, the use. So
They just have a
luckily,
big pot of beans. I mean, I don't mean to, you see my point.
I
think it's
do.
Far in excess of the actual.
Yeah, this is actually going to be arranged that it's going to be limited use, and we know that because that's the way the building is. It's used on occasion, sometimes they'll have weddings and things up there, receptions, you know, so it does get use. But what our goal is basically to spend the money now and not have to worry about it again for 40 years, like this stove. I suppose we did some repairs on it as we went, but this is a very old stove and it never required replacement until now. So we're kind of looking at the future, we buy something good now, and none of us should have to worry about it again in our lifetimes.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Anything else?
Just when you talk to Mike Miller, ask about electric.
Okay. I can do that. We are set up with propane, so that'd be kind of a direct replacement.
Do we heat with propane there?
No, heating oil.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if we eliminated the propane, it's just be for that one item.
No, we have a pump house that's heated with propane also.
Oh, okay, so,
So we have a couple sources, a couple uses for
yeah,
propane.
okay, I like cooking with propane rather than electric myself, but I also want to be cognizant of that ulterior, that,
Yeah, I know there's a lot of anti-propane, natural gas, and cook ranges out right now, worrying about the environment. And, you know, it's to a point, but this will see not a lot of usage.
no, I know, and the problem is with that is that these companies are being sued by groups, and I'd hate to see the propane stoves go by the wayside, but they're not going to in our lifetime, we hope, but,
Yeah, propane is the best way to cook,
yeah.
but,
The other piece to consider, especially with the electrical piece, would be, you know, how far is it from the electrical box, because you're gonna have to run
Right,
220 wire.
The electrical
I mean,
box is
right,
right in the
and
kitchen.
I don't know if you've priced out an electrician recently.
and if you've got
It'll probably
two,
cost you almost as much for the electrician to run a new wire as a 5,000.
it is very short because
And then it'd probably take you 4 months to get it.
it's like 15 feet from the stove. Excuse me.
right, yeah, there's all those other things, there's details, devil is in the details.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
Be good to know.
yeah, we can look at those alternatives and go from there. And nonetheless, irrespective of whether it's electric or gas, still we want to look at the warranties.
Yeah, warranties, I'll get into that when we start. Once we set a price range, I'll include electric options too. We may have to go with 2 regulars, I'm not sure how that'll work.
That's what I would think, 2 regulars, that would
Yeah.
save on using electricity anyway. Propane is self-contained, so you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
that.
I think we should put this matter on the back burner.
Ha ha.
Engage further research.
Well, Apparently with,
Simmer a little.
I think this topic has run out of fuel.
25 minutes, we're off.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good, appreciate your research.
That was good. See what you did there.
No public hearings, public comment to allow members of the public to comment or reserve time to speak on an upcoming agenda item. No members of the public? None here. New item agendas, commissioners only? Nothing. Administrator report.
So you have my written report there, just a couple of things to note. Next week is the Maine County Commissioners Association Convention over in Sugarloaf. Commissioner Cezak and I will be attending there. I found it to be very valuable last year, and it's a good chance to interact with other people that are your cohorts around the state. No two counties operate the same way, but it's always worth finding out what somebody else is doing in certain situations. So that'll be next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll have my computer with me, and we'll be corresponding by email if you need me. Tonight, I had put a little handout, I think it's up by Sip's elbow there. Just because you're in town for this meeting, Somerset Public Health has their annual meeting tonight, and it's up at Lakewood Golf Club, so it's at the golf course. So there's snacks at 5, and then their meeting is at 6. It's really a good way to understand what the public health arm of the county does. They're under the umbrella of Reddington Fairview, but they serve the public health needs of the entire county. And my wife works for them, so I'll be attending. And there's just for the snacks, right? I leave at 5 to 6.
Nothing to do with the drinks.
No, there's no open bar. Now, something came together quite nicely, I think. We had talked about doing a meeting for legislators or people that are running for the legislature to talk about jail funding and other issues that are important to the county. So Rebecca Graham, who works with the Maine Municipal Association, she's also on the Jail Council's committee with the sheriff. She reached out to see if we would host one of their several county meetings that Maine Municipal is having. And so they agreed to allow us to host it at the jail in the training room. So an invite's going to go out. I forwarded an invite to the commissioners today, but that invite's going to go out to all of our county people that are running for office and already serving as legislators to come. And this will be an opportunity for the sheriff and myself and others to talk about the jail funding issue, because it is confusing. It's also an opportunity for people who've never been inside the jail to come and see the jail, see where those tax dollars go, and to talk about the fact that county tax spending has gone up on the property tax payers, while the state's portion has been static. And that's the issue we're trying to raise before the legislature this year. So that's going to be on a Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, October 24th. So a little more than a month from this week. And that's pretty much all I have. There's no questions.
All set? Okay. Finance reporting.
I have nothing new to report since last meeting, but we'll answer any questions that need. No news is good news.
No unfinished business, new business, resolution 24-182 to pay the following amounts from community benefit funds for completion of matching grant projects. Moose Alley ATV Club, $15,000 in trail repairs.
So,
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? So go, thank you. Resolution 24-183 to accept the resignation of office administrator in the district attorney's office.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Resolution 24-184 to approve the contract with Axon to provide body cameras, vehicle cameras, and related software for the Somerset Sheriff's Office and the Somerset County Jail.
So moved. Second.
Discussion?
Yeah. Where is the contract? Do we have it?
You have a portion of it in your handout, or in your packets. I can probably cobble together the whole thing for you.
So, I assume that this would be the appropriate time to explain, to take it a step further and explain to us how much it's going to cost, how much that varies from what we thought it was going to cost, and what our options are.
So I will start by saying it was my mistake to use the assumption of $100,000 annually. Because by saying that, you would make the assumption that that's $100,000 a year for 5 years, so $500,000. And if I had it to do over again, I would have said between $500,000 and $1 million. Because what I did not know is, even though they had talked about the process, the sheriff had not done an itemized list of everything that they needed. And so when they got that list done, that's what generated a cost of $733,000 for the sheriff's office and an additional $100,000 for the jail. So those are the figures that you have before you.
In this amount, though, how much of that is a shifting of assets, say, for the car cameras? That's $57,000 that would be shifted into that budget, so.
So that's correct. So roughly, if you were to take that $60,000 a year you're spending on WatchGuard vehicle cameras,
Right.
That's $300,000. So we'll essentially be not spending that $300,000 over a 5-year period and replacing it with the $700,000. Now, Patrick has put together an idea of paying a lot of the upfront software costs in this current budget, which would put that future cost at $110,000 or so over the next four budgets following this.
So the other thing is, we're adding body cameras,
Correct.
and how much of those body cameras would be used in the jail? Or if any?
So, the body cameras would be used when, for those events, when we have to do cell extractions, when there might be an affray inside one of the pods, so we can capture the event, number one, make sure that we were doing everything properly, and it also, I think, help us in future litigations.
I think looking at the contract, you're looking at a total of 31 body cameras for the sheriff's office and 10
Yeah.
for the jail.
That seems like a lot to me. 31 body cameras for the, how many patrolmen do we have?
So we have 6 detectives with a supervisor, and the remaining, I think we have 25 road deputies.
I just asking complete ignorance, so it's not as if you had 10 of these that you grabbed whenever you were on duty, and
Yeah, they're assigned
they
to.
had to be particularized to a particular.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we had that discussion with the jail, because the jail personnel, and we were told, because I was thinking along those lines, but we were told that the camera is unique to the person that it is assigned to. So we know unequivocally that those events are associated with that person.
So the question I had, so outside of the 300,000 for the vehicle cameras that we would be spending anyway, leaves 433K roughly. Are there other things that we're gonna be spending inside of that regardless of whether we do this contract or not? Is this contract, with the items and the services in this contract, replacing other things that we're gonna spend money on as well?
Yeah, one of the things is we track every vehicle in the county, and that came about after a tragic event of a deputy getting murdered. And so we pay roughly around $5,000 a year to AT&T to track our vehicles. So Axon and this new software does that tracking for us.
So this is a technology that tells you where all of our sheriff's vehicles are at any given time.
Right.
So that replaces that cost as well, so now we're a little bit closer to 40.
I mean,
So
not a
and as
repositioning of
Commissioner-
asset.
Yeah. As Commissioner Cezak said, we're introducing body cameras into our operations which were never there before.
Right.
So just looking at the paperwork that we got here, the first page, it says, quote summary, 60 months, total cost $733,251.64. This is discount summary, $49,174.15. What?
That's that 15% discount for,
Oh, okay.
but wait, there's more. No, that's the discount they would give us for jumping on now.
So if you look to the second page where it has these three large numbers up in the right-hand corner.
Right.
It's an unbundled price. In other words, if you bought every one of these things individually at list price, it's $979,000. Then there's a quoted list price, which is bundled together at $862,644. They're giving us a 15% discount down to $733,251. So it's not what you spend, it's what you save. That's what my wife tells me.
So what's the next page, Tim? It says, there's $106,005, what's this one?
That's the jail.
Oh, okay.
That's the separate contract for the jail.
Right now, we are using handheld cameras to capture these events. And we do transport, and because of things that have happened across the nation, I want to capture all the events that happen while we're transporting inmates from the different locations. So those will be deployed inside those vans.
So we signed a contract for add the two together, which would be 840 something. And that's all we pay for a 5-year period of equipment and service. We don't have to buy anything else. We don't have to fix anything else.
No, if anything breaks, that's all part of it. They just fix it. And point, so we contract with Axon right now with our tasers. They sent us our first batch. We had 30 defective on the trigger mechanism. I believe, don't hold me to that, but there was some sort of defect. We called them up. They immediately they said, send those old ones back. And they sent us 31 new ones, no questions.
And at the end of the contract, they take all their stuff back and we start again with trying to figure out what we want to do based on current available technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
The short answer is, I don't know what they do with the equipment, but they keep refreshing the equipment even while we have it.
So we can just extend?
We can, yes, and I actually had a conversation with them, and they believe, and I guess it's a salesman, but they believe that the price would be less than what this price here, because we'd already be contracted with them, and all the hardware is already there.
So, I don't want to take out, Patrick, how do we pay for this? What's the plan?
Well, roughly, probably half of it is going to be covered by already cost, whether you're talking about the cameras, the watch guard cameras, the watch guard warranties, the tracking of the vehicles. I still have to look. I know we got a discussion about whether overtime is going to be impacted and so on, but I feel probably half of this will be covered from stuff that we already have. And the other half would be, we're gonna have to look at other savings in other areas to cover the cost. But really what you're looking at that point in time is about half the cost is it viable to reduce any legal actions that we have, things like that? Is that really, gonna be, the deputy's gonna be able to spend more time doing their work instead of reports? That's where the commissioners have to look at as about half of it you're gonna have to account for.
So how many unfilled patrol positions do we have?
So right now, as of today, we have one position left open. I have 2 applicants that I'm interviewing, I think either the end of this week or the beginning of next week. So, again, but when I say applicant, I'm not saying they're plug and play. I still have to go through the 8 months of training to get them up. But we're in a lot better shape than we were when we talked at the budget time.
We can cover, we're also probably close to 300,000 this year, because we've already incurred over 100,000 savings when it comes to openings.
Right.
And watch guide and so on. So that's why if we front load it this year, then the outer years will be closer to the 110,000, which is manageable.
And do we pay as we go on this, or do we
Yes.
pay it all up front?
Yeah, they've proposed that we pay a little up front and more later, but we're proposing to pay more up front and less later. So yeah, we can pay annually.
So it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, back of the napkin type math. I mean, we're looking at roughly 85 to 90,000 a year to add body cameras and the AI reporting. Divide that up over the period of time, so it's a little bit.
And I want to be perfectly clear on something else. I misspoke at the last meeting. These are AI templates. They're not the reports.
Report templates.
Yes.
All right, can you explain that just a little bit?
And we may find other savings to cut that 80, 90,000 down even more.
But just so, what you said, Sheriff, these are,
So I think what the sheriff's trying to diffuse is the idea that these cameras automatically generate a finished report, which they create a AI template with the information they've gathered, but the final report is still done by a trained deputy.
I think we understood that.
Not a problem with me.
Well, I've been inundated with the press thinking that there's robots going to be doing it. No offense. These robots are going to be doing these reports, and that's just not, it's not just the case. It's really the evolution of law enforcement.
So, oh, go ahead.
I know we've talked, and in terms of the equipment side of things, it's gonna be hard because, I mean, I know you guys want to start this budget cycle, but are there grant possibilities from the DOJ, rolling grant possibilities that would help with?
Yeah, so to that point, so grants are that you cannot supplement something that you've already approved to, but because this is a 5-year, we would be looking for grants to help pay for the year 2, 3, 4, and 5 moving forward. Now, I can't promise you that, and then, I mean, we can't, but that would not, I would be looking to do that.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to know, because even though we can't get it up front, there's a possibility of application for possible grant money that would help
Right.
with the last 3 years.
Well, they already have applied. There's a grant out there that they've already applied for.
We are working on those grants, but it would be not, to be fair, I do not want to promise something that I might not be able to.
But just, just knowing that that's a part of the process and that's a possibility. I mean,
We have applied for a grant.
Dale, what would be the sort of training implementation, what's involved with that?
I had a conversation with the company, part of this deal, and that's and there's more. Usually they have a trained staff that goes around the country. We're in communications right now that they would provide, they would send that staff here and train us. They would absorb those costs.
And just a little, speaking back of the envelope, I was just thinking about the overall expense here. So I got my tax bill the other day, and 12% of it was the county. And I'm assuming of that, a pretty big chunk of the county tax is the sheriff's office and the jail.
Right.
Like 6%?
Probably about 65%.
So, and this would increase the overall amount of money that we spend for the jail and law enforcement by a relatively small amount?
At this point, the only increase would be anything on top of that $57,000 a year you're paying for WatchGuard. So if we structure it at $110,000, that's essentially another $50,000 a year. However, I would say, as we craft the budget for the coming years, we will probably be able to absorb that in other savings throughout the county. So when you take a look at that broad county tax bill that's generated by everything, I think based on the amount of undesignated fund balance that we have, based on the fact that we have unused ARPA funds that we're going to use up this year, we'll be able to offset any of these increases.
Well, I would just make it, of my tax bill, most of it supports the school district.
That's correct.
I don't have any kids in school, but I'm not begrudging it. It's an important thing, but it seems to me it's a pretty good bargain, what we get from our tax bill for law enforcement and police protection. So, and if this is going to reduce the likelihood of lawsuits and other expensive outcomes, I think I'm in favor of it. I wish we could have sort of a pilot project where we try it out with maybe one officer or something, or outfit one unit with it to see what it's like. But it's probably unlikely.
We have 6 right now that we've have used it, and that acts on it. And again, that is what generated our first conversation. If you would be willing to entertain this, was I wanted to see how effective it was, how much time it would actually save, and what that report looked like. And at the conclusion of the test that we were doing, all of that was in the plus side for me.
Good.
If you remember, a couple of meetings ago, when the Axon rep was here, he showed you a video of actual footage of a K-9 unit.
Yeah, I do remember that. I didn't know it was.
And we know how powerful videos are.
It was always, yeah.
The only thing I haven't contested is how it sells in court, but I'm confident that that's not.
She said
It's going to.
Right. And you were well aware of the game. No, I don't want to say, yeah, that was the wrong word. But the process of you asked the officer on the stand, is this a true replica of what took place? And that's a yes or a no.
I think we survived that.
And the other thing is that the defense lawyers have their own AI that will scrutinize that as well on their end, so it works both ways. The playing field looks level when it comes to AI processing. One of the programs that the defense attorneys use is called Justice Text. So that's around, and that's been able to provide enough evidence that the defendant is not found guilty. So it works both ways. Saves time all the way around. So, any further comments, questions, discussions? All set? And we have a motion. Is there a vote, a yes vote on this? We're all in favor. Very good. Resolution 24-185 to post the job opening of Deputy Jail Administrator at the Somerset County Jail.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Go. Thank you. Resolution 24-186 to approve the hiring of Shannon Toa Bailey as Corrections Officer for the Somerset County Jail.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Capital Reserve expenditures, Resolution 24-187 to approve the purchase of a 2024 Chevy Silverado for the Somerset Sheriff's Office Patrol.
So moved.
Second.
I just want to say this is very serendipitous, that this has come about and is able to fill a gap in our fleet, so.
So if I could, I just want to comment on something that the chief and I talked about before. As you recall, we have the Tahoes that are on order and on recall at the moment. So another one of those Tahoes has come in, it's getting lettered, and it's not under the recall, so that will be made available. So that would give them 2 out of the 6. Another one's sitting on the lot waiting. I talked to Russell over at Height this afternoon. He said there's some good news. It sounds like GM is going to allow individual dealers to follow an inspection checklist on each one of these police package Tahoes that are being recalled. If you've got one on the lot and it passes their inspection, then they might be able to lift that stop sale on it. So this Silverado here that you're approving, assumingly, is going to go toward the 8 vehicles that are being purchased in this current budget. So if you recall, the budget committee and you passed the budget for 8 vehicles. So this will fill one of them. There's another Silverado that's going to fill another, and then we're just putting out an RFP this week for 6 2025 Tahoes. So we're going to try to complete the Tahoe purchase for the 24s and then put out an RFP for the 25s. So hopefully by budget season, we'll have a much clearer picture of the sheriff's fleet. So.
Just so I go dyslexic on this, but so we approved the purchase of a Silverado truck from O'Connor.
O'Connor, correct.
And they have not been able to deliver.
Well, it hasn't arrived.
Hasn't arrived.
Yeah.
And that was going to be used by a patrolman in the county.
In the UT.
In the UT.
In the UT.
In the UT.
But didn't we also get a pickup truck for a patrolman in the county, not the UT?
Nope, we got a pickup for the jail.
This map.
That was a Ford F-350.
No, I'm not talking about that one. I thought there was one.
There was Sergeant Cunningham is in a truck now.
But that was a while ago.
Okay, but that's not, he's not getting one of these trucks.
No.
Okay,
No.
I think I did it, okay. Good. It's confusing.
All set? Are we all ready to vote? All in favor? Very good, thank you. Unorganized territory, Resolution 24-118 to approve the spending from the Rockwood Community Center Building Fund to replace a cook stove on site, not to exceed. I'll leave it to the person who makes the motion, who accepts the motion.
I'd make a motion not to exceed over 5,000. Not to exceed 5,000.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? That's a go, very good.
I'm
Resolution.
just sort of wondering if I may, Chairman, if Dave talks to Mr. Libby from the jail and says, you've got to get this is, and it costs $5,149, I'm hoping we can come back in here and, because I think we have to kind of, it's great to pick a number from the air. I'm glad you did it instead of me, because I wouldn't know what number.
Well,
But I just kind of like to get more information.
I did it based upon what I looked at
Yeah.
on the phone with gas and electric.
Anyway, so I just, for that proviso.
Yeah, keep that in mind, I would say somewhere close, somewhere in the region.
If we settle on a recommendation that's higher than 5, we'll bring it back to you as for recommendation.
Yeah, I'll probably, if I put together a spreadsheet, what I'll do is I'll give you some low-end options, the middle options, which 5,000 should be around top of the middle option. And then, just because some of these brands maybe have, 10-year warranties or something, I'll just have those as options also.
And that $2,999 one may have a better warranty than the $5,000.
Yeah, it's possible. It's gonna be, I'm not even sure. I don't know if we're importing these from China. Seems like we get everything from China nowadays.
China.
But one of the things I'll be looking at, manufacturer, where they are, and, I'll include that in the information.
Yeah.
You did that good, John.
Okay, so we've accomplished Resolution 24-188, on to Resolution 24-189 to approve spending $70,000 from the TIF to assist the Lexington Highlanders Snowmobile Club as recommended by the TIF committee.
So moved.
And this is for a
Groomer.
trail groomer. Okay.
Don't they have one already?
They
Put
will
them a groomer every other year.
Very old.
No, what we did with them a couple of years back was side by side. They can use that for grooming, but it's like using your half-ton pickup truck to haul a load of wood, it wears it out quick. So they use that for spot grooming in certain locations, but they need a dedicated groomer. I think the newest one they have is a 2004 right now, and they have one older than that. They may get rid of the oldest one, keep another one in reserve, but you always got to have at least 2 running, because very often they run the same times in different directions, different trails. So nobody has just one groomer, so this is just giving them a more modern groomer to use, and they can put one of their old ones and, park it for emergencies.
My understanding was with this particular club and the trails that they groom, it connects
Yeah.
pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So if they're down that, whatever it was, 20 some odd miles or something,
60, I believe they
it's
have.
over to 60 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like ripping a bridge out.
If I could just speak to some confusion that might be on the agenda here, because I realized that we had 2 community benefit resolutions for trail maintenance on here. The first one that you did earlier in the meeting, that was for a matching grant that was applied for. This is totally separate from this.
Right.
So that was a matching grant applied for, approved. They did the work, did a great job. That's the Valley ATV Club. So the next resolution after this one is an additional amount of funds to go to the Lexington Highlanders from community benefit funds. This one was not an application, there was not a community benefit matching grant application put on this one. This was something that came out of the discussion with the TIF committee. So I know Commissioner Johnson and Steckes can speak to this more, but I just want to make sure there was no confusion on those 2 resolutions.
Well, we're still on Resolution 24-189.
Are we paying for the entire groomer, or?
No.
Is this,
No, it's being.
I apologize, I'm always staggered.
Yeah, that's no problem.
We're talking about these important law enforcement equipment and that what we're, kind of nickeling and diming the sheriff's office. All of a sudden, we write a check for $70,000 for a groomer. And
There's 3 sources of funding included here. When they applied to us for TIF, it was basically for full amount, but they knew they had $30,000 they could put in. They applied to the state to get a capital grant. They got approved for the capital grant, and the state's funding formula, a little complicated, we had to have Patrick figure things out. But between the club, and they're gonna put in $48,000, which is one reason we have an $18,001 after this. So they're putting in 48, we put in 70, and the state will cover the rest. I think 48,000, I think, is the remaining amount. So that was what we determined worked best for everybody involved. But because we're asking more out of the club, instead of the 30 they had set aside, they had 18,000 set aside for trail maintenance. We said, apply that to this, and we'll cover your trail maintenance. That way there's more state funds available for the groomer. I know it's complicated, but that's the way we had it worked out. It
The
worked.
reason, I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the reason we're being asked to approve 18,000 for community benefit is because they cleaned out the trail fund to help pay for the groomer.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Got it.
We do come out ahead.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote on the groomer? Resolution 24-189, all in favor? Any opposed? It's all good, thank you. Resolution 24-190 to approve spending $18,000 from community benefit funds to assist the Lexington Highlanders Snowmobile Club with trail maintenance.
Second.
And this was never went through the process of the community benefit.
So this is not a matching grant, this is just your purview of using community benefit.
Just out of curiosity, where does the sort of rubber meet the road on trail maintenance in terms of dollars? Because I know they rely on a lot of volunteer help, crews get out to fix, cut the bushes back, and
Yeah.
why is it $18,000? Seems like a big number.
Well, part of the grants they run every year, there's two types of grants. There's municipal grant, that if you're in the UT, you have to run through the county, and we're the middleman with the state. State's the ones with all the funds. There's club grants, and that's the club going directly to the state, and those are smaller amounts. The bigger grants, which sometimes are over $100,000, they go through us. We put in the state combines everything and tells, this is what we allow, this is what we'll reimburse. So the club submits their things to us. And it's always been fairly steady on the amounts of the trail repair part of the budget. Grooming is the largest part. I had clubs that would never talk about trail repair, they only claim grooming because there's so much time and expense in grooming. But after the last summer we had, the last winter storms we had, trails took a huge beating. Everybody's increasing the funding for the trail repairs, basically. We did that earlier this summer with the Moose Alley Club, and they just got some more money from...
But is there some estimate from some provider that says it will cost $18,000 to fix this trail?
Yeah, I mean, we could...
That was for a bridge replacement specifically, I think, right?
Bridges were involved. I don't know if that was all of it, or... But yeah,
They
they
asked the question, we said,
Is there some contract that we're signing here, or is this audited in any way? Is it just, we just write them a check for $18,000 and say, have fun?
Well, you can always ask for receipts or invoices.
Yeah,
because
we have-
they're gonna hire contractors to build these bridges, and they're
Yeah.
gonna hire contractors to go...
But do we have the contractors
bring in gravel.
submitted a
We gave out to Moose Alley Riders earlier this year, and they gave us a breakdown on the trails they were going to replace, the bridges they're going to replace.
I know, we
That was
what about this one is
$100,000.
what I'm asking.
We haven't received
This is
it.
tied to the groomer.
So this is tied to the groomer, because what they're trying to do is...
Replenishing their cash,
Right.
because they're using all that cash for the groomer.
So there wasn't
This is
necessarily...
replenishing their trail maintenance fund.
Right,
Correct.
because they're using that now...
If we
to
don't do
match.
this, what happens next year to their trail maintenance fund?
They don't have one because they're gonna spend it all to get a groomer.
But how do they accumulate money in the trail maintenance fund year by year?
They write grants to the state, but they also use their dues and so forth.
The snowmobile registration?
That's through the grant process with the state.
And that's a very small pass-through as well.
So, if all that happens, come next year, how much money will be dumped into their trail maintenance fund? Will it be totally replenished? Does anybody know?
Well, the fact that they only had $18,000 in it this year tells me they would have spent all that and more.
Yeah.
How much did they spend last year on their trail maintenance?
Right.
Well, what's their average, what are they doing?
Not to belabor this too much, but the damage that was done has put all of these snowmobile clubs behind. just the damage from the December storm and all of that. The Moose Alley riders, they spent $120,000 just fixing trails. So,
And we gave them a matching grant.
right, for $15,000, yeah.
But this is somewhat different, where
This is tied to the groomer.
So, I guess my question would be, with this $18,000, if they took it out to go towards the groomer, why wouldn't that $18,000 also be replaced by taking it from the tip?
That's a good question. Why
That
didn't they
is a
ask?
good question.
Why didn't they ask for
They
88,000?
used the $18,000
They asked
out of
for
their
100.
account.
Well, did they ask for 100 or?
The initial request was for $145,000, that was the cost of the groomer. In reality, getting the groomer here and in operation was closer to $150,000. But they asked for the $145,000, then they found out, they knew they had some funds of their own. They determined $30,000 they could put towards the groomer. They got the state to kick in with a capital grant system that they have, and they came to us to basically bridge the difference. And we looked at the formulas, and the formula worked out that if they could put more money into the groomer, the state would put more money into the groomer. We would put less money into the groomer. So it worked out that if we could refund their account for the trail maintenance, that's the way it worked out best for the club and for us.
And that was an idea that came from the committee, not the club. We said,
Yeah, they
we don't necessarily want to invest in this new groomer if your trail conditions are so bad, and we don't want to have you empty your accounts either. So let's get creative and maximize and leverage state dollars.
That's right.
Well, why didn't you do a separate $18,000 into the TIF rather than the community benefit?
Because it's different funding accounts.
Yes, so, if you use the TIF.
Their funding
You're not
grants are-
comparing on the community benefit, which we've already made people go through hoops for and have competitive grants.
Yeah, why don't we just give them $88,000 for their groomer instead of 7?
It waters down the amount.
Because then the state gives less.
Yeah.
So
Do you wanna take more money out of their account and our account than the state account, or would you rather have the state pay more?
That's not what I'm saying,
the
though.
state's money,
I know what
this
you're
is free
saying.
money from, I don't
None of
know.
it's free.
No,
No,
I don't, well,
magic money, no such thing.
Yes.
No, I just, why,
This is the thing, the strange formula
Possibly some-
that the state uses.
I'd have to-
I understand, yeah, I understand what you're saying. My position on this would be, we have a process for spending community benefit funds, and we have a competitive process for it. It's working out well, it's getting better, and I think we're learning as we go. And to have the TIF committee basically raid the community benefit fund to kind of clean up a situation with the groomer, which is clearly UT stuff, is clearly TIF stuff, they've got plenty of money in TIF to cover these things. I don't think we should just willy-nilly just sort of grab another 18 grand from community benefit to,
So I'm pretty sure the committee that met and examined all of this, in fact, I think this was the speech that you gave a little while back. Why do we have these committees if we're not gonna actually take their recommendations? So the committee sat for an hour and a half and dealt with what the state formula was, what the expenses of the club was, and that's what we came up with for a solution.
I understand the solution,
I don't think you're answering the question, though, is that why is there not a separate line item for $18,000 for trail maintenance from the TIF fund? I mean, it's,
That's the question.
My only assumption, and I wasn't at this committee meeting, my only assumption is that up until this group of commissioners created a more structured use of community benefit, it was quite common to approve projects with a combination of TIF money and community benefit money, especially if some of the project was in the UT and other parts of it were outside of the UT, that they would kind of use both and. I tend to agree with the conversation the way it's heading. As long as you're designated the $18,000 for trail maintenance in a separate check, it doesn't really matter where it comes from.
Right.
It could just as easily come from TIF, and that way you're not really confusing the issue.
While we are on Resolution 24-190, why don't we have an amendment to the motion to make it from TIF?
Doesn't matter.
Would you like to do that?
Glad to do it. I'll make that motion, or I'll second it.
Commissioner,
We're still on that. We're still on 189, right?
No,
We voted to 70 for one.
Oh, okay, so
We're on 190.
Okay, I make a motion that we amend the resolution as it reads to approve spending of $18,000 to come from our TIF funds to assist the Lexington Highlanders Snowmobile Club with trail maintenance.
we've got a motion and a second on the floor right now.
Yeah,
So there's an amendment to the motion.
I'm amending the motion.
Friendly amendment.
Okay.
So I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of the...
Discussion. My question would be is, are there any stipulations within the TIF rules and regulations that we're gonna run into?
No, and that's why I asked Dave if 99% of the trails were in the UT, which they are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any issues.
Okay.
So, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, there you go. Problem solved. Thank you. Onward to warrants, resolution 24-191.
We have to vote on the amendment.
Oh, that's right, you're right, I'm sorry, thank you. Now, to vote on the resolution as amended.
There you go.
So move.
Second.
Well, there's already a motion.
It's already a motion.
You just need to vote.
You just need to vote on it as amended. All in favor?
There we go.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you for the point of order. Resolution 24-191 to approve the treasurer's warrant for general fund, Somerset County Jail, unorganized territories, and TIF community benefit for a total of $367,847.02.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only.
Just a thought based upon the fact that, I don't know about you guys, and I know some of you have met with reporters, but I think I've gotten at least 10 emails. So I'm just wondering if a public joint statement on this so on the contract that we're going through, as the five of us to support that and to clarify with them, because I think the question is still, the AI is being a report versus a template. So I mean, that's just I don't know, but I haven't reached out to any of them and didn't plan to. Didn't know if we should make a joint statement in support of this and clarify that.
Well, we've approved the contract, so we can have a statement, but...
I don't know, they'll probably stop bothering us eventually, but.
The media?
Yeah.
I have a statement right here, I can just read, if you want me to.
I just, I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
we all need to be collectively in support of that, and there was some differences about, that explanation as to the AI being a template and being a report. That still has to be further cleared up or not, but.
Well, as a template, it's actually a draft.
Yeah.
The final report is initiated by a real-life human.
Yeah, I know that.
So, and that's the difference.
But I don't think that's what they're after, is that, and is this going to hold up in,
Hold up in court?
yeah.
It has held up in court.
Public eye.
And that is the problem, it's still, AI technology is still, and body cams still face cultural and legal and procedural barriers to acceptance.
Whether you realize it or not, you're making a joint statement to the media right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's true, yeah, we're live too, so, yeah.
That's a clear one.
I just don't, like, dealing with it.
And again, it's a level playing field. We use AI, the Defender has a program, or programs to use that uses AI. It balances out. I'll give this to you, would you spare us hearing me talk? Yeah. you can- I'll just read it out now, and see if you want to approve it.
That's,
Go, go. The sheriff has read it, and Tim has seen it, so. Anyway. Okay. So anyway, back to miscellaneous discussion items. Any other miscellaneous discussion items? Seeing none, recess to execute documents.
Oh, so moved.
Whoa, there he is. Did everybody get the card?
It's not. Sheriff, and you were in the New York Times. I know, that's a picture.
It's a lot cleaner.
If we can stage you chasing Jake down this hall, I'd like to get that out to TMZ.
This was actually from me. Okay. Yeah, I saw your letter. No. I don't think they published it. Those are
Necessarily somewhere, most of what I spend most of my time on the phone or on.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I think it was just
I mean, because I talked to
distance, separate those funds as much as we
They
can.
didn't say anything. I mean, I didn't talk to every defense attorney. That's interesting, I didn't know that. You looked at it. That's AI.
You've got my letter and you've got this, and you can call.
What's that? Okay, yeah.
We're getting out of here to try to keep this.
Okay.
Just let that get more. Last.
Very good, very good. That's what I was saying, you know. That's the. Election. Yeah, well, it's now we have to do everything earlier with zoning and everything. We used to be able to wait until the election to say, right, so really, all really starts.
So we're gonna have like a commissioner's day?
Elections already.
We could do, Maine monitor put on a, set up and you can bring your guns and shoot at it.
What makes you think I don't do that?
What, bring your guns?
We did the ski.
Expand.
Right?
I think they just looked at all the.
We ended up clearing like 10 grand, so.
Yeah.
It's concentrated. Yeah, it was good. I mean, we had people, we had two teams come down from Washington. No.
I think the best part about it for me is that sweet music going on for like 3 hours.
There's nothing.
It was just like, people had to think there was a war going on.
Yeah, there were 39 people, and we all shot at least 100 rounds apiece.
Right.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at the number of
It's a lot of-
cheaper office. Small stuff.
I'd highly recommend taking a trip up to see Denise at her camp before she closes down the restaurant.
Some people pull it off.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of strategy, I guess. Some people want to.
Yeah, I also got tired of chicken. You want to chicken over it.
I guess so. Well, thank you for this, appreciate it.
No problem.
What makes you think that
Somerset County and the news, I guess.
That's what you do. So I think that's non-denominational. I think the Democrats use chicken too. That's what you do.
I saw that. I didn't realize.
Well, maybe you can.
Suffocate thing was part of the study. We were doing that. Scientific study.
I do have a couple of Republicans.
It seemed to be.
progressive, first person to bring in. Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.